Let's turn our attentions back to Monday Night Raw as we build up to SummerSlam. This was the final Raw, Nika, before SummerSlam will be happening this weekend, and I'm pretty excited. We got 12 matchups, and we're going to be dropping our predictions for that tomorrow. And I'm excited. It's going to be split into two parts because we got 12 matches, and it's just too much for one prediction show. So we need to split it into two.
Sure.
It's a big event. This is the biggest event we've done since we started the Kenikka video portion of our show. We were doing some WrestleMania commentary on our former podcast when that was going on. So here we are. We have this big SummerSlam event, and I'm just excited. I'm ready. I've even got some of my Americana colors. I'm buying into the marketing for SummerSlam. But before we get to SummerSlam, we had Raw. And we will have SmackDown again this Friday. But we had Raw on Monday night, and Raw actually began much like the last episode of SmackDown. Did I say ended? I meant to say began. Raw began much like the same way the last episode of SmackDown did, with a tribute to Hulk Hogan, the Immortal, who passed away last Thursday. And we got to see the Raw roster this time come out and do the 10-bell salute to Hulk Hogan. Triple H was not there, but his voice was heard, and I believe it was the same exact audio that he had delivered on the SmackDown show on Friday. So obviously, dude is a busy guy, and he probably felt like he didn't have to do it twice.
If you write it once and it's good, why change it? Right?
Exactly. But this was nice to see a huge lineup of wrestlers. And, I wouldn't be surprised if this continues all the way through until SummerSlam itself. I saw NXT also did a 10-bell salute for Hulk Hogan last night with all of their roster.
With their same age speech or no?
Yeah. And I mean, look, the dude is on the Mount Rushmore of WWE forever and ever and ever. He's like Babe Ruth is to baseball what Hulk Hogan is to WWF and WWE. It's what Michael Jordan is to basketball. And, you're
not going to change that.
You're never going to change it. You cannot change that, no matter how hard you try. But this was nice to see more Hulkster tributes. And one thing that was not repeated was the video tribute. It was actually a different video.
Okay.
This was more of a music video montage without a lot of Triple H's narration was in the previous one that was 6.5 minutes. This one was like 4.5 minutes, and it was mostly a music video tribute to Hulkster. This was done by Alex Warren. It was the song Ordinary. And I grabbed a couple screen grabs from this just because, it's Hulk Hogan. And I grabbed the thumbs up, like...
Is that what that is?
This was Hulk's classic. Like, he looks like a politician almost, but like he gave the thumbs up, to the crowd. Like, and we didn't get to see a lot of this in through his death footage last week. So I wanted to grab this specific frame. But the other frame that I grabbed was him and Triple H doing one of the 4 poses. And we talked about the 4 poses before, but in case you need a refresher, there's 4 poses that Hulk did in the ring with the ear and his arm flexings, if you will. And here is him and Triple H doing it together.
Triple H is a big dude, and when you match him next to Hulk Hogan, there's a noticeable difference in size, the height.
Yeah. I always thought Triple H was a big, big dude, and I can't see exactly where they're standing in relation to each other in terms of, like, is Triple H closer or...
To the ropes?
Yeah, or not. But at the same time, your point is valid. Like,
there's not much difference in that ring.
Also, Triple H is spread apart a little bit more, so I think he looks less tall.
Okay, so he's more
of a squatting. If he was
squatting.
Standing with his legs closer together, then I think he might be as tall or about as tall as Hulk. But I also love that I recognized the 2 wrestlers that have HH and then HHH. It's a lot of H's between these 2 guys in the ring, and I think that's a great coincidence, whether it was done intentionally or not. Triple H is a huge Hulk Hogan fan. He said it during his eulogy on Raw and SmackDown that no one would be there today without Hulk Hogan, and he's absolutely 100% correct. I just wonder if the Triple H name came to be as a tribute to Hulk Hogan himself, like, and we're going to do it 1H better. I don't know if he did it 1H better or not, but he definitely achieved more within WWE as he is now the chief creative officer.
Sure.
So pretty cool for him. And, obviously this day was going to come sooner or later with Hulk Hogan passing. So I think it was great that it happened while Triple H was the voice of WWE. He did a great job with everything, and we'll probably continue to have to do it throughout the course of this week into SummerSlam.
Most likely.
All right, but we had some wrestling, Nika, on Monday Night Raw,
We did.
and this was the headline heading into Tuesday morning. Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker lay waste to Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. This seems like a little bit of a repeat with Roman Reigns inserted into the mix instead of, let's say, Sami Zayn or CM Punk or anyone else that Jey Uso has been hanging out with over the past few months. But this all actually got started at the beginning of the show. So the whole storyline here with Jey Uso and actually Paul Heyman was the focal point of the start of the show after the Hulk Hogan tribute, of course. And then we had Paul Heyman sort of insulting Jey Uso's family and saying that they can't be trusted. One of my favorite lines Paul Heyman delivered during this was about how all your mothers lied to you about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and stuff. And that was really hysterical. That got me. Anyways, Jey Uso made a kind of passionate response here saying that he's always going to be there for his family, and we'll have to assume his friends as well, right, Gunther? Anyways, I wondered if this was at all foreboding any sort of heel turn from Jey Uso during SummerSlam.
I don't know.
But nevertheless, we did have a match that was scheduled for this evening, and it wasn't happening now. I was kind of confused because I thought it was going down right after the Hogan tribute, and so I was a little bit confused. It was they just used it as a way to get some smack talk in. Anyways, we had Jey Uso against Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman in his corner, of course, carrying that Money in the Bank briefcase, and we also had this teaser ahead of time, and I wanted to put this here because we were told that Roman Reigns was going to be in Detroit for Raw at the show. And if I didn't say that before, sorry. Raw was live in Detroit on Monday night. And Roman Reigns was going to be there, Nika. So fast forward to the end of the evening, and we hadn't seen Roman Reigns yet. So I was a little bit annoyed with the writers and the storytelling here because it was like, all right, you teased and told me that Roman Reigns was going to be on Raw tonight, and yet it's like 7:25 Pacific time and we haven't seen him yet, and we know Raw is going off the air in like 5 or 10 minutes, so we know he's going to come out, right?
We thought, yes, definitely, as advertised.
That's just like in a business where you're supposed to be always aiming and achieving to do the unpredictable. This was just too predictable for me. So, anyways, it's a minor nitpick, I know, but it's still a nitpick.
Sure.
Like, there's no reason to put out the Roman Reigns is going to be on Raw teaser if he's supposed to be like the element of surprise at the end, right? Okay. Well, Jey Uso and Bronson Reed were the headlining match, and there was some interference, Nika, and there was actually a reason why Roman Reigns had to get dragged out for this, which was because Bron Breakker, of course, interfered on behalf of Bronson Reed in his match. Now, before we get into all this, do you think the Jey Uso Bronson Reed matchup was a direct response to our show and our making fun of the fact that Jey Uso could not do a spear on Bronson Reed? Were they like, oh, well, we have to put these two Goliaths next to each other now in the ring?
Definitely. We had such an influence over this.
I figured as much. Thanks for watching, Triple H, by the way.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And you've come to the right place to continue to make your product unpredictable, as you will hear on our predictions tomorrow for SummerSlam. Ooh. In the meantime, though, of course, Bron Breakker came out and executed a spear on Jey Uso, which prompted Roman Reigns to come out. And this ended badly for both the heroes here, as we already showed you. But here is a screen grab of Bron Breakker doing a double spear, Nika. He's not only speared Jey Uso, but he also speared Roman Reigns at the same time, sticking his head between their two bodies. This reminded me of like a linebacker in football.
No
almost.
Kidding. Well, he is built like a linebacker.
Hey, Seth, I know that you need some muscle in your corner, especially while you're recovering from this knee injury, but don't you think the Bears could possibly use a player like Bron Breakker on their team? I mean, look at that form tackle technique. It's almost perfect.
Maybe he trains with some of them.
Well, either way, this was a message sent according to the WWE powers that be, or whoever controls the social media channel at least. And yeah, let's kick it back to the headline again one more time, because we had Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker laying so this is the Empire getting the quote unquote victory before the big event at SummerSlam. Does this give any foreshadowing at all that Roman Reigns and Jey Uso are going to emerge victorious over this evil Empire?
Maybe. It's a 50-50 chance at this point, and I'm leaning towards that Jey Uso and Roman Reigns will beat up on Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker in the tag team.
I find it amusing that we live in a universe with WWE where Solo Sikoa can get arrested for planting a fake hit and run story on his enemy, Jacob Fatu. But we've now seen Cody Rhodes forced John Cena to sign a contract against his will the same night that arrest happened, by the way. And now we have this event where like Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed continue to just destroy superstars' ribs, you know, like Sami Zayn got a lot of punishment and still getting it.
Yep.
We have, of course, Jey Uso. You could almost argue that he lost the World Heavyweight Championship to Gunther because of those rib injuries. And now you have Roman Reigns being thrown into the wolves, and his ribs, he's holding them right there. Bronson Reed also took his Air Jordans, by the way.
I know. It's a trophy.
I'm going to de-shoe you, and you're going to have to live in shame of that.
You know, that's what The Rock did to Cody Rhodes last WrestleMania 40. He took his belt and he put it up like a trophy.
Oh, okay. So
maybe that's something, you know.
You gotta take something from your opponent as like a
little trophies.
Memory reward trophy. Yeah. Does that mean Roman Reigns can like issue a challenge? Like, I want my shoes back. We're going in a cage match for the Jordans. We're gonna tie the Jordans up above the ring like the Money in the Bank briefcase, and Roman Reigns can win back his Air Jordans from Bronson Reed. I don't say Bron Breakker because Bronson Reed is the one that took him off and was like holding him up as the trophy. So
is he selling them on eBay?
I guess he let Bron Breakker do all the hard work for him, and now he's going to cash in on eBay, like you said.
Possibly. You know,
Roman Reigns worn Air Jordans. I mean, how many posts like that are you going to see?
Just one.
Well, let's go see if they're on there. All right. Well, we are turning our attentions now to this huge 8-women tag team matchup that was more of a probably precursor to the matchups we're going to see this weekend, and getting some of the women familiar with each other inside of the squared circle. I'm, of course, speaking about Naomi and Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, who have this big triple threat championship matchup for the women's world title at SummerSlam. And then, but we also have this feud developing between Nikki Bella and the Secret Hervis and Chelsea Green. And so we got this odd grouping as a result of it with Naomi and the Secret Hervis, and Naomi looked out of place here a little bit, and it was funny, and I thought it was not a bad out of place, mind you. It was just a funny out of place. It
was, and the way she handled it, it was she walked out at the end, basically.
She did, but as you look here at Chelsea and the Hervis giving their British salute, Naomi's just kind of standing there like, what? But she had a great red Thriller jacket, you know, straight out of Michael Jackson in the 1980s. So props to whoever dressed Naomi last night for the show, even if it was herself. Great choice. It goes with the raw red too. So really good. And then up top, of course, you can see just so much big name talent in that photo, huh? You have Hall of Famer Nikki Bella and probably future Hall of Famers Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, plus Stephanie Vicaire is probably going to be a hero or a Hall of Famer as well.
Potentially, yes.
But
2 goth chicks.
Big matchup here with all 8 of these women. Now, I will say this matchup was a little too chaotic for my tastes because there's just a little too much traffic going on for you to be able to focus on any one thing. And of course, when there's 4-on-4, you're not going to get to see a lot of each individual performer because there's only so much time. And so, again, this felt more like a warm-up matchup before the weekend's festivities, but nevertheless, something that was fun for the audience because all these women got to come out and all these women got to do their shtick. This moment stood out to me the most. Naomi left during the middle of her matchup. She was like, I'm out of here.
I don't need this.
Yeah. And that kind of goes along with what we were saying earlier. It's just an odd pairing in general, but she had enough of the Secret Herbis, and I think Chelsea's ditziness.
Can't blame her there.
I can't blame her either. But she was unsuccessful, and
she got dragged
back into the ring. This one ended with the 4 women getting the victory. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Stephanie Vicaire getting the pin in this one. All right, moving right along here on Raw, we also had a mixed tag team matchup, and as in mixed genders. We had the team of AJ Styles and the Kabuki Warriors. It was Kairi Sane and Asuka teaming up with AJ Styles here against, you guessed it, the Judgment Day.
Of course.
And it was Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez teaming up with Dominic Mysterio here. And again, I think we had a similar situation to the women's matchup we just discussed where we needed AJ and Dom to get some on-camera work in together. And, you know, Raquel and Roxanne obviously need to stay sharp ahead of their tag team matchup with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss this weekend. So we are just getting some tune-up matches here. But nevertheless, I got to say, I'm not a big fan of the mixed tag team matchup and the rules that come with it. And obviously, I understand you don't want AJ Styles beating up on Roxanne Perez in the ring.
No.
But it sounds like when a man gets tagged in, then the other man automatically has to come in and vice versa. And I just feel like the gimmick doesn't work for me very well when you break it down into how it works. It's like, okay, I get it. It seems just more like a gimmick to me than something that's of actual consequence. And I just found myself like not really tuned into the results of this matchup.
Okay, it makes sense. It was a tune-up match for sure, since Dominic is coming off the doctor's note.
It was, yeah. And he did have a legit injury, and this matchup was supposed to take place at Night of Champions. So it's probably great that it got bumped to SummerSlam anyway, because this rivalry matchup between AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio has been some of the most comedic elements of Raw in the past few weeks, with AJ Styles sort of stalking Dominic around and following him. He even dressed up as a doctor last week. It was great to see him get back in the ring though and get some real work in. And he's a good performer. I'm hopeful that these two can put on a good match together this weekend. So stay tuned again, like I said, to our predictions show tomorrow. 2 episodes, bonus edition. All right. Well, we had a World Tag Team Championship match with the Judgment Day as well, because as you guys know, Finn Balor and JD McDonough are now the World Tag Team Champions. Not to be confused with the Tag Team Champions, the Wyatt Six on SmackDown. These guys are the World Tag Team Champs, and they had a title defense against LWO, who had won that opportunity on the previous Raw, just to get you all caught up to speed. And LWO is Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro, just to get you familiar, because I didn't know their names. Recently, I guess maybe promoted, or I don't know if they're on the Raw roster now or what, but they had this matchup. And the big news of consequence to come out of this was that El Grande Americano showed up, Nika, and got involved. And this one appears to be the Kaiser, the Ludwig Kaiser version. The one that we saw appear a few weeks ago on Raw, just as the OG Chad Gable left Raw. And he was announcing that he had an injury. And then all of a sudden we had a new El Grande Americano who looked oddly like Ludwig Kaiser.
A little taller?
a little taller, perhaps a little more defined, maybe.
Maybe.
Anyways, funny stuff. He comes down and gets involved. Everyone gets distracted, and then it appears that LWO is going to get the win, but no, there is now what is being called a second El Grande Americano imposter. That mask looks nothing like the El Grande mask, and they marketed him as a new El Grande in a jumpsuit.
Oh, jumpsuit.
So maybe he's from New Jersey, this one, I guess.
Maybe. Okay.
Part of the mafia. How's his Spanish accent?
Was he speaking?
No, we haven't heard this one on
Okay.
the mic yet. I don't think we've heard Ludwig's Americano on the mic yet. Are we supposed to say that? Is that a spoiler? I don't know. Hilariousness ensued, but he interfered and cost LWO the win here. And so that's what you need to know is we actually predicted this. We said that with Chad Gable possibly going on the injured list, I wonder if they're going to play up like who's in the mask. And it's funny that they're even pushing it to these extremes where it's like obviously a different person, and yet they're still going along with the gag. It's funny. It takes a little bit of your suspension of belief to buy into fully,
Sure,
but it's still funny. It's a funny bit, and I'm glad they're keeping the gag going and pushing boundaries rather than just like letting it get stale and kind of fade away because Chad Gable got hurt.
Yeah. No, this is perfect.
It is. And it'll set up some real fun drama when Chad Gable returns from his injury.
No kidding.
Anyways, that was this week's episode of Raw is War. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. I thought it was just okay for the penultimate Raw before SummerSlam. Unfortunately, my biggest complaint with these episodes is when it seems like we get a lot of repeats. Like Gunther and CM Punk did a promo. I didn't even want to talk about it because it just felt like recycled from the last time they did it together on the mics. I think they need to figure out a way to build these weeks between events better, because it seems like they come out of a paid live event like Evolution and Saturday night's main event, and then there's a really fresh episode of Raw. But then they have two more to get through before the next paid live event happens, because they're on about a 2-week-ish cycle, 3-week cycle. And so I just feel like they come out of the gates swinging hard, but then by the time we get to the one right before the paid live event, everyone just wants the paid live event to be there by that point, and we're just getting a bunch of tune-up matches. I understand the need for tune-up matches, so I just think the writing needs to get a little bit stronger in how those happen.
I agree with you, because it does feel very recycled. Whether their talking points get recycled or just the whole spiel.
Yeah.
You know Gunther is going to come out and do a promo.
Roman Reigns is going to come out and rescue Jey Uso at the end, especially when you're promoting it ahead of time. So
Becky Lynch is going to be there with Lyra talking about the same bullshit.
That promo is just getting old all the time. And anyways, well,
that was it.
That was Raw. Hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. It just wasn't the strongest episode. So.